Hey guys, it's Zianni once again, doing another video for Veigar this time. Veigar is one of my favorite off-roll champions. He's just such a strong ADC champion, and I hope you enjoy. Currently for Veigar, the best in slot keystone is going to be Electrocute. I've seen quite a few people running Arcane Comet, and while I do think it's pretty decent, I don't think there's really much of a point taking a scaling keystone as opposed to having an immediate impact with Electrocute. The reason why this is because Veigar has one of the strongest scaling passives. You don't need to supplement that with more scaling. You just need to have a strong early game keystone that allows you to duel. Electrocute will fulfill that nicely. In regards, Taste of Blood is extremely efficient. It's great for lane sustain and also allows you to play a little bit aggressively. A lot of the supports in Preseason are extremely strong and do a lot of overtime damage like Brand, so having additional healing makes it easier to stay topped off in lane. Now, this is kind of a toss-up. I don't think any of these are better than Eyeball Collection in regards to just straight value. Veigar doesn't necessarily need the AP, but it helps a lot with snowballing, so I think Eyeball Collection is going to be the best in slot as well. This is going to go and be just Ravenous Hunter. Omnivamp is extremely valuable on any kind of champion that you play. There's nothing else here that we really want to run unless we're doing Everfrost, and Everfrost I don't think is going to be very good this season at all. So Ravenous Hunter for Omnivamp makes sure that even in the mid game, having additional healing makes it to where we can be more aggressive and place more dangerous locations. So if we're trying to do boxes and we get punished, we might get poked out, then we can't go for another box. But with Omnivamp, that won't be an issue. In regards to secondary runes, I do think that Time Warp Tonic is a possibility, but I really like Transcendence. I think having the additional haste is going to be more valuable, especially after the removal of Cosmic Insight, making Transcendence and Manifold Band for additional mana just the best as our secondaries. Adaptive, and of course it's going to be Armor or Magic Resist depending on the matchup. There are some situations where you might consider something like Haste or Scaling Health, but you just want to play for lane. I don't think there's much of a point playing Scaling on a Scaling champion. Itemization is pretty simple for Veigar. There's not much that is considered good at the moment. In Season 10, there was kind of an emphasis on running GLP because it was extremely efficient. It did really well with Electrocute and also guaranteed landing your Event Horizon. They have changed GLP, and I just don't like the new item, which is Everfrost. It does have a root built into it now, but the thing is that the bonus mythic stats have no value. There's really no point in taking additional AP when you're playing one of the strongest AP champs in the game regardless. 15 AP versus Flat Magic Pin or Percentage Shred or Haste, just not valuable. Now there is a world where you could build Everfrost, I just don't think it's worth it. So for that reason, Luden's Tempest is going to be our best item in slot in regards to mythics. The reason why is because getting additional magic penetration makes our damage a lot more efficient. The other reason is because it has a nice balance of mana, haste, and penetration. Echo has a nice move speed buff on it, making it easier to land your E as well. Now you could run Leandri's if you wanted to, but that's running a scaling item on a champ that does not need additional scaling effects. So that's why Luden's will be the best. Sorcerer Boots combined with Luden's Echo is going to give you 28 magic pen. Most mages have 33 base resist, as well as ADCs. If you land a combo, they should be dead if you have 28 magic pen. Once you finish one of your mythic passive items, which is going to be a legendary item, it's going to give you 5 more, putting you up to 33 exactly. Now, your third item, or technically your second item, is kind of a toss-up. I do think that the only situation that you would not build Rabadons is if you're building Zhonya's or Medjai's. Rabadons does so well with the Veigar passive, and it also just gives us the ability to one-shot regardless of the situation, based on what crowd controls on your team. Now, if you're not building Rabadons, it's so you can build Zhonya's into heavy AD matchups, or just a lot of assassins. If you're playing against a heavy tank team, then Void Staff is going to be coming in clutch against, magic resist stacking. And the reason why I consider Medjai's to be so valuable is because additional move speed makes it easier to play your champion, and it also has the benefit of giving you a quick legendary bonus. It's extremely cheap. It's 1600 gold, and it's going to give me 5 magic pen on top of a stacking AP. So if you're playing a pretty strong matchup, I think that going for an early Dark Seal is going to be really valuable. Now, this is kind of the best thing that we can do at the moment. There might be a situation where Horizon Focus would be good, but I just think 800 extra gold for 35% AP is just too good. There's really no reason to build Horizon Focus in this. Now, you could also do something like a Cosmic Drive or Banshee's Veil if you need situational defensive item against a Leon or Ashe initiation. I like Cosmic Giant because it's got a lot of haste and it also gives you the ability to continuously run forward, but this is going to be your best in regards to just 6 items. Going to be doing a laning phase guide for Veigar currently, so the first thing you're going to notice is that I accidentally took Ignite. I was playing mid the game before, and I queued up for ADC Veigar with my friends, and I completely forgot about the Ignite, so you're going to see a little bit different experience in that regard. The other thing is, I was trying to do my runes last second, and I accidentally ran double armor, but it does end up working out this game, so it's not going to be too much of an issue. And the thing that we're going to be focusing on for this guide specifically is kind of the wave manipulation portion of it that we kind of skip around in the 1v1s that I do for my Orion and my Syndra guide. Now, in regards to this, the first thing that we really want to do is kind of address the situation that is the 2v2 bot side. Now, you'll notice that we're playing Leona Veigar. Leona is probably one of the best champions that goes with Veigar. The reason why is because she has 3 CC spells, and if any single one of them lands, it results in a full combo from the Veigar. Or, sorry, they have a Janna Ashe, so this can go either 2 ways. Janna is an excellent champion for disengage, which makes it a little bit difficult for the Leona to really commit to something, and because they're double range, they have the advantage in regards to just poking us out. So we're going to try to kind of avoid early combat in the lane phase until we have the necessary skills to deal with it, and then we need to just hard engage. Because if we give the Janna the opportunity to use most of her skills, then we'll never be able to close the distance in order to do damage. So I'm going to go and continue the replay, and you're just going to see me walking up here. The reason why I do this is so that I can make sure that there's no late invade going on. This is something that you can do to help your jungler out, because if you do lose bot side, this means you're going to be verticaled. And what I mean by vertical is if they start red buff on your side, they can go back to blue on their side, and your jungler has to go top side. So this results in your top laner having more impact on the game than you would bot side with jungle pressure. And the first thing that we need to recognize here is that when your jungler starts red, this means that they're playing towards top. So she's going to be playing towards Camille. There's no world where she does Krugs, Raptors, and then runs bottom unless it's absolutely free. So when you're committing to starting red buff, you need to know that she's going to be going up towards blue. So if you expect your jungler to gank before 3 minutes, you're actually trolling. First thing that we also need to notice in this lane is that we both come to lane late. So we now know that Evelynn has started blue side. Now, Evelynn doesn't have an insane gank, so we don't really need to consider it too much because we already concede this lane early, which is why we're going to be playing very passively at the start here. It's very valuable as Veigar to be landing as many Qs as possible, either on minions or the champions. You want to last hit the Q so that you get the AP value, but hitting a champion gives you 1 AP as well. Now, I'm going to give them a lot of respect here. There's really no reason why I need to trade damage because I'm already playing a champion that has a win condition of one-shotting. If I'm going to poke, it's purely for the AP. It does help with one-shotting them and setting up a kill window later, but you have to remember what happens here in this lane is that they have a double ranged and we have a melee support. There's no way that this Leon is going to be able to walk up level 1, especially when she's rocking that Q. So, it's better to concede this lane state and make sure that we have a better area. Because what happens here is that when we concede lane state, the minion wave starts to stack up and it pushes towards us. There is no world where the Janna Ashe is going to be able to poke us out under tower, meaning that we'll be able to farm for free. Now this arc right here kind of represents where the tower starts acting up, and this is where we want to keep the minion wave. And the reason why this is important is because we have so much CC. We have a Veigar box, we have Leona EQ. If our jungler ever decides to come bottom, the enemy being right here is a lot easier to gank from this route than it is to gank a bot lane right here. So when you're playing for scaling, or you're playing to hit level 3, it's important to just back up and recognize that. Now we do get +2 AP. Now this is exactly what we just talked about. If you do not respect this situation, you're going to get chunked out. And there's no reason why we should be taking this trade because we already know that this minion wave is coming towards us. We don't need to contest it right now because there's no way these minions are going to die. So it's better to just wait and allow them to push out. So we now have level 2. The reason why I take Dark Matter here is because I want to thin the wave out. If you take E second, there's no way you're going to have enough damage to do anything at all. So I'd rather take the W. And the reason why I do this is because you'll notice that there's a lot of minions, right? If I do not use Dark Matter here, the minion wave is going to crash a lot sooner than it would otherwise, because the more minions alive means the more damage that they're doing. So if I do not curve out this minion wave, it'll get here a lot sooner than before. But when I kill a few minions, it'll slow down the pace, and I might be able to control the wave to end up right here instead. So it's important that when you are freezing wave, especially when you're doing so that your team has an easier time ganking, that you make sure that it's as slow as possible. Because if you just let it stack up, it will eventually smack into your tower. Now, unfortunately, it didn't matter too much in this situation because they just have such a range advantage that we can't really do enough, you know, wave clear. We have 2 relic stacks on Leona, but this is really good for us as well, because when it's pushing a tower like this, you'll notice that this wave is already coming up to meet us. So regardless of what happens here, or the failed Dark Matter play right there, we already have control. This is good for us. If we're running Teleport or Cleanse, there is no way that we die in this lane. There's no way that they tower dive us because they have an Evelynn, and she can't do that until level 6. This is just ideal. Once again, if they're not warding in this Tribush, and they certainly cannot because they don't have any control wards yet, this is extremely dangerous for them. And the other thing is that we recognize that she has a Relic Shield, so she's going to be farming wave no matter what, whereas if she had Spell Thief, then trading would be more optimal for her. So we now hit level 3, and the important thing here is that there is no heal available. So we have double Cleanse, which oddly enough will work out because the way this works is Cleanse can take off debuffs, right? And Ignite is really good against heal, so if she cleanses our first Ignite, then we have a second Ignite to go through, and we're going to start building the wave up here. Now, we have a good chunk of mana. Now, the issue is that there is no HP on our Leona, which means that anything that she makes happen has to happen immediately. We can't drag out these fights because she'll just lose a lot of HP before it happens. Now, we both move forward here. She unfortunately misses the E, but the Ashe continues to move forward here. So the Ashe commits to a melee range with the Leona. She did not have to flash, which is fantastic. And now she's locked into combat with us. I'm waiting to use my Q, because the reason why is that if I try to use a skill shot, I might accidentally miss. So waiting until CC is the best way to do this. So I put the box down. Unfortunately, she flashes over it. And if I had heal or teleport here, this would be a lot safer. But what ends up happening is that she does actually cleanse the Ignite, but then we tack another one onto her. So we pick up the kill there. That's a 1 for 0. And let's go and run that back, actually. So we get the wave advantage here. We hit level 3, and we use the bush here. So I start moving forward, as well as my support. If she had waited, this probably would have been the best thing possible, or she could have flash queued, because they're already zoned into the wall. But unfortunately she misses, and their mistake is moving forward into us. They've already committed to all their CC and disengage, and then they continue to move forward here. So I actually get the electrocute off. I don't think the W lands, but my Q is about to come back up, and then we have Event Horizon. So E lands, or her Q lands. I'm supposed to immediately follow up with the E. I do so. She unfortunately dodges it, and then I have to back out here because it exhausts. But she chooses to flash through it. That was extremely close, and that does end up being really good for us. We know that Evelynn's topside because we scouted her out with the wards. The Ashe is dead, so if we shove this lane in, we deny this massive wave and give all that experience and gold to the Janna. So we need to stay here until that happens. We go and reset here, and once again, this is how much minions that she's losing currently. But this is a free reset, and if we take a look at the gold value here, that's 1500 gold. That is really, really good for us. Now, I'm going to go and opt for a double amp tome here, control ward. Unfortunately, I don't have enough for Lost Chapter. You need 1.3k, but we only had around 900 on that reset. But this is good for us no matter what, because we now have enough AP. When you get double amp tome in lane, you don't have as good mana control, but we have really, really, really good damage, especially when we have the setup coming in from the Leona. Now, because of the way we pushed in the tower, what that means is the wave's going to build up on their side, and it'll automatically push back towards us. That's what you call a rubber band. The reason why that happens is because the minions are under tower from our side, and when their minion wave hits that, they kind of combat here, and then the next wave will stack up with this wave. So that's why they have so many caster minions here, and that makes it a lot easier for us to control the wave state again. We're waiting for cooldowns. We're going to go and grab that cannon. We should have been a little bit more aggressive. We did have the E angle there, but getting Q stacks for free is always nothing to complain about. Now, a really good initiation onto the Ashe. They weren't able to control their distance there, and we just need a hardcore commit because they have no flash available. Now, this is a mistake on my part. I did not expect her to Q back up, and I dark mattered in the path that she was walking. This would normally be good, but because she was stunned, I did not follow up on the stun, and this would have actually ended up saving us the kill, I think. and my Leona actually just kills herself here. So this is my fault. She would have 100% died had I landed at Dark Matter. I'm going to go and push this wave in, because if she does stay under tower, it makes it a lot easier to tower dive. But I just want to deny the Ashe as much CS and experience as possible here. Now, I tried to stay for an extra plate, and then I realized that the Ashe is coming back. That's because the death timers are so low, and that's a mistake on my part. The reason why that's an issue is because when I recall late like this gives them an opportunity to push the wave back, and I might lose a wave off of that. So I traded a wave for a wave in that situation. Now, I do believe the enemy bot lane's diamond, so this is pretty realistic standard for a game. They're not playing extremely well, but they're not playing extremely bad as well. So we're going to go and be running back here, and you'll notice that once again, they did push the wave towards us. They're trying to crash it here, but that's exactly what we want. If you've noticed this game, the wave has been in our advantage for basically 80% of it. We've held it right here until we've decided to go in, and then anytime that we're pushing into the tower, it's after a kill has been made. Now, she takes so much damage here. This is not okay. If you are resetting, just wait until your teammate is back. There's really no reason why you should lose 80% of your health over something that did not matter. The posturing didn't make a difference whatsoever. She might have been trying to hold the wave, but it does not matter. Because this hurts us a lot. If my support isn't willing to engage because she's low HP, then it's denying me the ability to play my champion. So it's important for her to recognize that that play was not acceptable. Alright, so we're just going to be Q farm stacking here. I end up fucking this one up because I autoed too late. And you'll see the reason why I'm standing so close to the minions, because there's less travel time between the projectile as opposed to the last hitting from max range. Now we do see that they're fighting above the scuttle. We do recognize it's a 4v1, and I'm just basically like, fuck it, I'm not going to go over there. But then, it turns out that she starts escaping, and it's like, okay, I guess we could turn this. And we go and just rotate here. Now, unfortunately, Johnny Q does land. If I did not get hit by that Johnny Q, I would have been able to get to the box in time, and that would have probably resulted in a kill. So me getting hit by that the Johnny Tornado, really, really bad. Now, that delay caused this situation where I've used box in a 4v3 situation. This is awful. So what this means is that the enemy is totally capable of engaging into us, and I have zero disengage for that. The only person I can trust in this situation is my Leona, and guess what? She's level 5. So I run behind her, she tanks the Q for me, we immediately turn, and I use the electrocute proc with my ultimate. This means that she doesn't have enough time to cast R, especially with the CC lock from the Leona. Now, the good news is, this should technically be disengaged, but they continue to run forward, and I think that maybe we can turn this. Because there is no Orianna ultimate, we land the nice stun on the back range, and you'll see that the Lilia engages. That's a flash ultimate there. But she did a little bit too late, which means that there's a lot of distance for me to cover. So cleanse goes through. I'm able to get a WQ off, but that's a shin ult. There's nothing we can do about that. I think it probably would have been better for us to turn on the Orianna because she had no resources available outside of the flash. And diving right here is really, really difficult to do. So we'll go and return to lane. She holds it right here. The reason, once again, is because we want to control the wave to make sure that it's harder for them to do anything on the map. Now, it is important to recognize that when we play like this, it makes it a lot easier for our jungler to gank. But you do have to understand that there is consequences to playing like this. If they're playing with a heavy roam champion, they would be able to rotate and go mid as much as they want when we're freezing the lane like this. This also means that we don't have priority on invades or scuttle crab. But because of this 2v2 matchup, playing this way versus Janna is completely acceptable, and probably the best way of doing it. So I'm just standing right here. You'll see that I'm basically setting up my CS for myself, trying to get as much AP as possible. And you'll notice something I talked about earlier is that she's going to use her relic on a minion that is half HP. So because she does this, the wave will eventually start pushing to us, instead of being able to hold it right here. Now, we do have Leon ultimate, which means we can kind of just commit to this if we want to. It'll be fine. So every time that this Ashe walks up like this, that is an opportunity. A window to CC locker. Now, she walks back into it on accident. Kind of unfortunate, but they do have a really, really good shield right there. But Every single time that there's a CC that goes through, that guarantees that my Q or my W lands. Now that's a really good Q that goes for the minion on the left side, tags on the back end. This is only possible because they're not respecting the range. Every single time that they get caught out right here, there's this entire lane that they have to move to get back to safety. Gianna could have moved forward to ult us further back, but once the Leona EQ goes out, you really need to be able to respond to that quickly. Now from this point onwards, we basically are going to take free tower plates. It's a fair assumption to say that laning phase is over. What should happen next is we either continue to roll the 2v2 fights, or we take tower and rotate mid. The reason why we would rotate mid after taking this tower is because it gives us priority on Rift Herald and Dragon, and gives us another area to take plates. Now, unfortunately, we're going to choose not to take this tower. This tower is irrelevant to us. If we have a winning mid and a winning top, we don't need to make that decision. We have a constant winning 2v2 in this lane. So it's better for us to just hold the wave, continuously find pick opportunities, and continue to snowball that gold. If we were more considerate about the dragons, then rotating mid would be better, but we'll just go ahead and hold this lane as long as we can. And that's laning phase for Veigar.